Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One of them is from Citibank, and one of them is some Robinhood news and a filing they did with the SEC. But before we get to those articles, let's dive on in and get you prepped for some success today. Got that stock heat map pulled up. Like always, we are seeing a little sell-off in the pre-market right now. Got a lot of red here on the daily as well. We've got Apple sitting down 0.92%, and in the pre-market sitting down 0.6. Got Nvidia sitting down 0.88 in the pre-market. Also seeing some sell-off down 0.95. Got Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.71, and in the pre-market sitting down 0.38. Amazon sitting down 1.01%, seeing some sell-off in the pre-market as well, down 0.85. Got Eli Lilly sitting down 1.07%, and in the pre-market sitting down 0.33. ExxonMobil sitting down 1.43 off of its close, getting some buying pressure this morning though, up 0.22%. We've got Tesla sitting up 0.51% off of its close, seeing some buying pressure in the pre-market right now, up 0.52%. We've got P&G sitting in that neutral range for the morning after a decent close to the upside, up 0.53% from yesterday and up 0.01% this morning. We've got Microsoft sitting down 0.15, and in the pre-market seeing a little bit of some sell-off, down 1.03%. We've got Google sitting down 1.52% off of its close, and in the pre-market seeing some light buying pressure, up 0.16. We've got Meta sitting down 0.52 off of its close, and in the pre-market seeing a little more selling pressure, down 0.96. Let's hop over to the crypto side of things, because we are seeing a little bit of a mixed bag here on the daily. We've got some green and we've got some red. We've got Bitcoin sitting up 0.7%, but seeing some red on the hourly. We've got Ethereum sitting down 0.4%. Also seeing some red on that hourly. XRP sitting down 0.6, BNB up 0.4. We've got Solana looking quite neutral on the daily, but seeing some red on that hourly. Dogecoin sitting up 1.4. We've got Cardano up 1.6. Tron sitting down 0.8%. SWI up 1.3. We've got Chainlink down 1.6. Avalanche sitting up 0.3 right now. We've got Stellar Lumens taking a spot from Hyperliquid on that market cap, up 1.2%, while Hyperliquid is sitting down 0.2%. We've got Shiba Inu sitting up 0.3%. HBAR sitting with no change on that daily, but looking a little red on the hourly. Leo token sitting in that neutral range, up 0.07. We've got Bitcoin Cash sitting up 1.3 and TON sitting down 0.5. We do have that big winner with Pi Network just outside of that top 20, sitting up 7.1. Let's hop over to those fear and greeds, because we are looking a little bit greedy this morning. We've got the stock market still sitting at 69 with no change. It's been that way for a couple days now. And we've got crypto coming down one more point, sitting at 70 and greed still. We will kind of have to see if we can continue this sideways range that we've been staying in. We do have a little bit of liquidity on both sides of us this morning, with the highs at 108, 108 for the top side liquidity, and for the bottom side liquidity, we've got some sitting at 105,800. Zoom this on out. Take a look at that 3-day to see where those explosive moves might take us. And it's looking like the upside has most of the liquidity. That is going to be at that $108,000 mark. I do have that level drawn out on my chart, and we will talk about that here in just a second. We've got that 2-week looking quite nice, with just some top side liquidity to clear out before we kind of make a decision in either direction. I do think we kind of continue our sideways range for a little bit, continue to cool off some of these higher term time oscillators so we can really get a stronger pump towards the upside. Let's take a look at that 3-month real quick and see what things are really looking like on that high term time frame. And as you can see, we've only really got liquidity really far to the bottom side, which kind of bodes well for a nice clear to the top side, really consolidate on some lower levels, and see a stronger push towards the upside. Let's hop over to that Bitcoin chart, because we don't really have any heavy economic data coming out for today. We do have crude oil stock information and a few Fed chair speeches this afternoon, one at noon, and I believe we had one around 4 p.m. I guess not. Just the one speech for today. We do have a Bank of Japan speech at 9:30 Eastern time. So another thing to keep your eye out for. They are looking to kind of hold rates steady for now. We do have some PMI data coming out of Japan as well this evening. That'll be at 8:30 Eastern time. Another thing to kind of keep your eye on for that Asia trading time frame. Let's hop over to the Bitcoin chart. Zooming on out past that 1 minute. We are not being a degen today. Let's zoom that on out to the daily. Say good morning to the people, because there was a few people in here early. We had Jesse saying he got some sleep. Good morning, good morning. He said he's only been awake for a minute. Well, I hope you're getting that caffeine in for you today, because we might have some price action that you might want to be awake for. Scroll it on down. We got K Diggity in the house saying coffee pot is calling my name, but I'm here. He said he's back with his coffee. All right. Well, I'm glad you got that caffeine and are getting prepped for today. We've got Jesse saying Pi Network keeps mining every day. Yes, they do. That token unlock schedule, though, is the only thing that's really holding them up. They've got most of their tokens that are in supply being locked up and are unable to be moved for about a year. So that definitely helps that price action quite a bit. If you're unable to sell your tokens, and you can't really see much downside. A lot of that is more speculation on tokens that are actually in the market. So let's hop into this Bitcoin chart, see what we're looking at here on the daily. Let me get my demonstration tool pulled up and get this moved over so my head's not blocking those oscillators there. There we go. As you can see, we found a bit of resistance at an area I was looking at. We had that 108,200 marked out on this chart. That's where we started to see a little bit of some selling pressure stepping on in. That is where we saw those very, very equal highs from back at the beginning. So we'll kind of have to see if this remains as some resistance, if we can find some support down here at 106, about 200. That's an area I have marked out as well. That's where we got those very equal candle bodies through all of here on the daily closes. I'm trying to see if we hold this as some support, but I do think with the divergences that we've been seeing, with how money flow is starting to look, you might see a little bit of a break below that. Test some of this $104,000 mark area. scoop up some of that bottom side liquidity before we really try to make that retest towards the top side. Let's zoom this on in, take a look at that 4 hour, see what things are looking like there. We do have another bearish divergence here on the 4 hour, just like we did on that daily with our oscillators, getting that nice strong curvature back towards the bottom side, with money flow and volume also getting that same curvature. We'll kind of have to see if we can maintain some of this green money flow, because if not, there's some nice levels to test back down here at about 104, 700-ish, where we, depending on what chart you're what exchange you're looking at, that's where we see a lot of liquidity as well. So bodes for a nice test to the bottom side with the bearish divergence, the way the MACD is looking to cross our indicator line towards the bottom side, with the curvature of our prime oscillator switching from red to green while it's doing so. Might need to see a little more cool off heading our way. We do have that 1 hour and the daily looking like you're also looking at quite the same thing. You don't have a bearish divergence stacked up here on your daily time frame, but you do have a nice reversal signal that is flashed. Another double top end scenario here with that push back down. Your money flow does look like it's just about to start crossing into that sell-off money flow. So we will be watching that short-term money flow, see if we can get some nice green money flow to kind of hold things up back down where we see all of our liquidity at that 104,800 to about $105,000 mark. Let's kind of take a look at that 15-minute and see what the morning might be bringing our way here. And this is where we might see that little bit of a hold up at $106,000. We are getting some nice curvature here on both your MACD and prime oscillator. You don't have a reversal signal that is flashed yet on this prime oscillator. Your money flow just dipped into the red here, but you might see a little bit of a pump off of that 106 as we try to hold that as some support and see if that money flow can come back into the green. If not, watch that 106, about 106,800 to be some strong resistance, and then make our way back down below this 106,200 to start grabbing some bottom side liquidity. All right. Any alt requests we got for the day, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I only got 2 articles and I can fly through those pretty quick. I've got plenty of time to look at some assets, whether that be TradFi or some crypto. Go ahead and drop those tickers in the chat for me as I get these news articles pulled up. We do have this one from a CITI bank. CITI CEO says something deeper is going on in the financial markets right now. It may be JP Morgan's Investor Day today, which brings with it the inevitable Jamie Dimon CEO successor chatter. But a hat tip to Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser for aiming to snag a few headlines of her own in a rare blog post on Friday. We are entering a new phase of globalization, one less defined by cooperation and more by strategic self-interest, Fraser wrote. Long-held assumptions are being challenged, not just by tariff announcements, but by a deeper confidence shock. The near-term impact is already being felt, and a long-term trajectory is being rewritten in real time. Fraser said that the markets are signaling a shift by moving to price greater risks into assets. If you're looking for markets for clarity, you might be a tad disappointed, Fraser wrote, but if you're looking for signals, they're everywhere. Treasury yields rose even as equity markets wobbled. The US dollar, typically a safe haven, has weakened at moments when it used to rally. That tells us something deeper is going on, she continued. Investors aren't just pricing near-term risks, they're reevaluating the credibility of long-held certainties. It's showing up in how capital moves. Pensions and asset managers are tilting more towards Japan, India, and parts of Europe. Hedge funds are being selective and didn't chase the April equity bounce. Sovereign wealth funds are diversifying more aggressively. Hedging against the dollar is now at levels we haven't seen in years. And this is a brief warning towards our current state of economy. You know, it kind of doesn't bode well when you've seen that dollar be a safe haven, that you're seeing people start hedging against it. You're kind of seeing money move in ways we haven't in quite a while. It does concern some people. Some people are trying to say it's business as usual, and we'll kind of have to see where things land after we get some clarity from all of the tariffs, after we get some clarity from Donald Trump on some of the crypto stuff, which kind of ties into this next article. Sorry for the blind and white there. There was no dark mode on this. So Robinhood proposes SEC rules for tokenized real-world assets. Robinhood submitted a 42-page proposal to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions calling for national framework to regulate tokenized real-world assets. Let's scroll on down, get to the meat and potatoes of the article, because here we go. Robinhood asked for token asset equivalents. A key feature of the proposal is the push for token asset equivalents. Under Robinhood's plans, a token representing a U.S. Treasury bond, for instance, would be treated as the bond itself, not a derivative or a synthetic product. That would allow institutions and broker-dealers to handle tokenized RWAs within existing regulatory systems, potentially streamlining custody, trading, and the settlement process. Technically, REE would be built on a dual-chain architecture utilizing Solana and Base, according to the overview of the proposal by Franklin Elevator. The system is designed to combine high-frequency off-chain trading and matching with on-chain settlement. Franklin Elevator from Robinhood projects the platform will achieve a sub-10 microsecond matching latency and throughput of 300,000 transactions per second. This would compress the U.S. capital markets standard settlement time from T plus 2 to T plus 0, cutting trading costs by an estimated 30% annually. So big moves in the RWA sector. We did have a few big companies as well filing some RWA assets, like BlackRock filed to create a blockchain-based shared class for its $150 billion treasury trust fund. You had Multi-Bank Group investing $3 billion in a tokenized asset deal with the UAE, a real estate firm MAG, and a blockchain provider Maverick. Looking for things to kind of move in that regulatory clarity direction here. Robinhood kind of pushing the ball on things. We didn't get our stablecoin legislation passed in Congress. There's still another bill on the floor, but it looks like Robinhood's trying to push things a little bit quicker. We do have this being a big move, especially for your traditional side of things. As it said in the article, this would allow your traditional markets to sell crypto assets. These will just be real world assets though, but it does allow for a lot of clarity in your trading, faster settling times, and it does push more money and eyes onto crypto. So I will be watching for that one, especially as it's Robinhood pushing that. They do have a little more power, the same way that Coinbase does, to kind of push some legislation. We've got Crypto Sam in here saying couldn't sleep. Well, good evening or good morning to you, depending on where you're sitting in the world. It is 5 o'clock for me, so it is morning time. We've got French Toaster in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you're having a great day so far. All right, I did see a few alt requests from Jesse. We had Ada. I can definitely take a look at some Ada and Kato. Don't think I've ever taken a look at that one, but we will get that one on the list. Kaito. And then let me know what exchange you would like me to take a look at that on. I was going to take a look at gold real quick because we did see gold get a nice strong bounce off of a level I had talked about last week. I know some people were saying I don't think we go that low on gold. I was definitely looking for a strong cool off though. Let me get that Fibonacci extension hidden. We were looking at the fib retracement there. All right, we got that nice strong bounce just below that 50% Fibonacci retracement there. I was looking for about 3,132. We hit just a little bit lower than that, 3,124, before we really got that strong push up. We do have some resistance that is kind of sitting to the top side of us right now. It is not an actual trend line just yet, has not got that third touch on it, but you can kind of see we've got that potential for a rejection zone right around that 236. That's coming in at about $3,346. We are seeing some good signs here on the daily with some curvature on both our MACD and our prime oscillator. But money flow does look a little concerning here as it is getting some continued rollover. We've got our volume also slowing up quite a bit, and that prime oscillator has not switched back to green as it's getting that strong curvature up. So you might start looking for this area to the top side to be a little resistance, see if we can get a stronger bounce at about the 382 there to really break above this trend line, potential trend line, and see if we can get that push back up towards some all-time highs for gold. Let's zoom that on in. Take a look at the hourly, and this is where you're seeing that resistance might come into play. You do have that MACD getting that break below our indicator line, while our indicator line's getting that curvature, and we're starting to print some red candles here on the histogram. Your money flow looking quite nice as you've stacked up a divergence here. Your volume holding quite steady, so we are looking to see if we can at least maintain this current range, get that strong pushback up, and then kind of cool off these oscillators just a bit there. Control Z, moved my trend line. Let me lock that there. There we go. Get that nice strong push up, really cool off those oscillators with a quick move down to that 382, and then see if we can get back to the top side of this, turn that into some strong support. Definitely looking like we need to cool off some of those that 1 hour and 4 hour oscillators. That 15-minute also looking like you might see that continued pump into the morning though. Nice green money flow, curvature back to the top side on both your MACD and prime oscillator, while your volume's holding quite steady. So looking for a little more upside before we look for some downside on gold. All right. I see Jay Violet in the chat. Good morning to you, or good evening since you're over there in the land down under. Now, we got any other alt requests here? I got Ada and Kato. We can take a look at that. Let's take a quick look at the Dixie. We did see that break below our support line that we had not wanted to see, but we are looking like we're maintaining our golden pocket all over again. We do have that hourly looking like you might see a little more downside, but your prime oscillator sitting green as your volume starting to increase here indicates that you might see that downside and support here at our golden pocket before we see that stronger push back up. You are seeing a little bit of some uncertainty in the dollar and some hedging against it, but I am watching for this golden pocket to really hold up as some strong support over and over again. We've seen it happening over and over and over. This 50% line being that strong resistance for us. So we've got this coming in that 100 psychological level that we're really watching to kind of get back to the top side of after we see this stronger bounce off of the golden pocket. Now I see H bar requested, so let me get that on the list and then start on your requests. We had Ada asked for. Let me hop over to my alt section and get Ada pulled up. We've got Ada seeing some strong moves towards the upside and that attempt to retake 76 cents. It fell a little bit short there. Let's zoom this on out. Take a look at that daily. Really zoom this on out. There we go. There we go. I talked about seeing that golden pocket hold up and making that push back up towards 76 cents. We saw that golden pocket hold up quite nicely there. Let's get this zoomed on out. There we go. We've got some curvature here on both our MACD and our prime oscillator, and we're really just waiting for strong money flow to come back in. Kind of the same as what we're watching on for Bitcoin. We do have that potential for a little more cool off here on some of the higher term time oscillators, like that 4-hour, sitting with some curvature here on the MACD and your prime oscillator. More of a sideways momentum for now, kind of seeing if we can have that money flow coming back in. I am looking at a higher low here and that higher high, so we do have some potential for that continuation to the upside if we can make another higher low and continue back up above 76 cents. Turn that from some resistance into some support. We do have a nice sideways range for ADA, top side being that 82 cent mark where we saw a lot of resistance at the 50% line on our Fibonacci's. Golden pocket seems to be some strong support for now after it was some strong resistance. So looking to at least maintain this 70 cent zone to about 80 cent zone for now, as we are seeing that sideways movement on Bitcoin. All right, let's zoom that on in. Take a look at that 15-minute and see what the morning might be bringing our way. And we are seeing that nice curvature here, as well as we saw on some of the other assets we'd looked at. You got your MACD looking to break back above the zero line here as we're getting that curvature back towards the upside. You've got your prime oscillator switching from heavy red to light red here as you're seeing that volume slow up quite heavily. So really waiting to see if this clip out on your True 7 brings some money flow back in. You do have 76 cents being a strong resistance area that we will need to get above for the morning. I would look at that being some resistance before we really try to cool off the oscillators just a little bit more and then get that stronger momentum to kind of break us back above that. We do have that 15-minute looking like we will see a little more upside, but with how that 1 hour was kind of looking there, it does look like that might be a little bit of some resistance for now, unless you can kind of see that crazy money flow coming on in. I see SWE requested as well. Let me get that one on the list. All right, that was Ada for you. Cato. Let's save that one for the end because I've never looked at Cato before. So That one might take a little bit longer. We had H bar requested. Let's take a look at that. It's been a little while since I've taken a look at H bar, so let's zoom it on out. Take a look at that daily term. Did find some nice support right there at that 17 cents that I had looked at way back at the beginning of May. Looking like we saw that resistance around that golden pocket area. I was kind of looking at 22 cents to be a resistance area, and it looks like we've re-established a sideways range here. You are making a higher low, but your daily term time frames on these oscillators look like you might see a little continuation here. You did see a bit of some sideways movement coming in on that prime oscillator. You're not close, you're kind of close to clipping out here on our true 7. Your volume maintaining quite nicely, but it's looking like this volume is starting to be some selling pressure. So we'll kind of have to see if we come all the way back down here, retest that 18-cent mark, and really push back up towards the top side. Let's zoom it on in. Take a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour. There we go. We're getting that curvature here on your MACD and your prime oscillator as well. Sitting kind of green on that prime oscillator as our volume is just starting to increase here on the 4 hour. So really looking to see if we can have that money flow really coming on in on H bar as well. We do have a nice sideways range to kind of maintain. We're sitting right in the middle of things. So looking to really see if we get that stronger push towards the upside and the top side of our range here. But I would kind of look for a little bit lower. You do have that 18-cent mark with a lot of play on that. You've got some nice wick in action here. You've got it being resistance here. You've got it as support down here. So looking to really see if we can cool off the higher term time frame oscillators and with a little more downside, as this 4 hour does have some nice triple topping there, and then that strong break to the bottom. You are making some lower highs as well. You've got that potential to make a higher low here. I'd really look for that short-term time money flow as we cool off just a bit. Let's take a look at that hourly. And this is where you're kind of looking like you might see some cool off as well. The hourly does have your first higher low here, but you made very equal highs with the high from over here. So this does look like that 19, about 20-cent mark is some short-term resistance, as we are seeing that curvature back towards the downside on both our MACD and our prime oscillator, with that reversal signal flashed and the prime oscillator switching from green to red there. So looking like we're trying to at least maintain that 18-cent zone. Seeing some nice buying pressure stepping on in on the bottom side as well. That's where that 900 moving average came into play. Got that strong bounce to the upside. Looking like we're seeing some resistance on that 100 moving average though. We are sitting below the 200, so I'd still be a little bit bearish there. We do have the 15-minute looking like you might see that a little bit of a push back towards the upside, and then see if we get that strong cool off to really get that stronger push towards the upside. 18 cents is that area I'd kind of be watching for. Really got those strong moves off of that level. We got it here, we got it back here as well, and back here where we saw that come in as some resistance. So about 18 cents to about 17 and a half there. That's kind of that little zone I would look for some repositioning. All right, let's take a look at I see David Brumbelow in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day. Oh, looks like you didn't see picture at first. Well, I'm glad you got that figured out, because I was going to say I'm watching the stream and I see my picture. So that definitely had to be a you thing. But good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning. I'm glad you're here participating in the chat. And we've got about 12 lurkers. So good morning to all you lurkers as well. Hope y'all are having a great day, getting that alpha and getting prepped with some caffeine. Let's take a look at Sui, because Sui did some playing in my buy area. We did get a little bit of some downside below that, but we really maintained at least the 50% line on our Fibonacci's. Looking to see if we can break above the 382. This is some strong resistance to the top side. Let's get that buy zone deleted, because we've done a lot of play in that. Got that bounces off of the midline, and now we're looking to see if we can get above the 382. Let's zoom this on out. Take a look at the 4-hour and see what we might be looking at for a few days. We do have some nice curvature here on both that MACD and our prime oscillator. MACD prime oscillator switching from green to red, as we have some hidden divergences that have really stacked up here with that 382 coming in as some resistance, and does look like we might hold up around that $3.75 mark. That's where we got a lot of play off of. You see a lot of these wicks bouncing off of it, your candle bodies bouncing off of it as well. There's a little bit of a zone below that though, about $3.70. So that's kind of that buy area I was looking for. We did see a lot of buying pressure stepping on in at about $3.70 here. We really saw that wick in action below, and these very equal candle bodies at that price point. So looking to see if we can at least maintain that. We're looking like we do need to see a little more cool off, the same way that we've seen on a lot of these other assets. Cooling off can be done with some nice sideways movement though. We do have your 1 hour looking like it's pretty close to cooled off here, which is where I'd kind of look for that little bounce at about $3.75, where we've got this line drawn. We've got very equal lows throughout here, so that's why I'd look a little more to the downside to see that sweep of any liquidity that might be right beneath those, as people have been trying to pile up some longs to try to see that break above the 382. We would look for that little sweep of liquidity and then try to see that break above the 382 and try to retest that. We do have some strong resistance coming in at about $4. That's that psychological price point as well, that we kind of look for some resistance to kind of retest the 382 at, coming in at about $4 at a couple zeros and a 4 there. We do have a little bit of resistance in that area that I'd kind of look for before a retest of the 382. Zooming on in, take a look at the 15 minutes and what the morning might be bringing our way here. And this one looks a little bit different than the rest of what we've looked at. We do see that MACD getting some curvature back towards the downside. Prime oscillator getting the curvature towards the upside. Volume extremely low here. And True 7 and waiting for that clip out. So a little more cool off before we see that pump. Kind of similar there, but looking like you might see that a little bit of a break below towards that $3.70 mark. All right, that was sweet. Let's see what we're looking at on Cato. I see Crypto Billy in the house. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Jesse got some sleep, so at least someone getting some sleep around here. All right, let's take a look at some Cato. K-A-T-I-O. Let's see what has the most history. Zoom that on out. Take a look at the daily. Looks like this has some decent history. Let's see. Cato. OKX. Let's see if that has better history. About the same. anything else. Let's see. On Coinbase, what kind of history does it? Nope. So we're gonna go with I guess OKX there. All right, that does have some decent history for us to kind of look at. Let's get some horizontals drawn. We got our very equal candle bodies from there. Let's make it a little bit thicker so we know it's some a strong area to look at. We did have all of those rejections off of that point as well. That's about $2.45. Kind of getting a little bit close to that. We do have some levels down here that could really hold us up, where we saw all of our equal candles came into play right here as well. That's about $1.26. So looking to maintain some sideways movement here. Let's get a Fibonacci drawn out from the lows to the highs. Looking like we're coming up on that 236 there. Did see some very strong support back here at the platinum pocket before we saw some very, very strong moves towards the upside. Let's get our fair value gaps drawn out here. We do have a few of them with that quick momentum to the upside. We've got one here, and then we will make that purple, because we like that color purple around here for our fair value gaps. And let's get that next one drawn out for you. This one is quite a bit smaller and has gotten a lot of play on the top side and the midline. So looking here, zooming on in, you see a lot of play off of that midline. Would look for maybe some closure on that as well if we are unable to get above that 236. Let's zoom it on in. Take a look at that 1 hour, see what the day might be bringing our way here. Got some nice green money flow on the hourly after a strong bounce off of that 382. Looking to see if we can get that break up towards the 236 there. But it does look like if we do get it, you might see it come in as some resistance. That hourly getting that strong curvature back. Indicator line getting that strong curvature as well, as you're starting to print smaller candles here on the oscillator, with that prime oscillator getting that move back down, and money flow looking like it's at a point where you could start seeing that switch from green to red. Volume is maintaining quite nicely here, which is something good to see. But if that volume maintains and the money flow switches, that means you're seeing a lot of selling pressure. Not too unexpected after this strong move towards the upside. We're looking at to current price point about 222%. So to see someone really starting to take some profits around that 236 at about 236% to the upside is not too unexpected. You do have that resistance area that's coming into play at about $2.45. So I would expect to see some people front running that resistance area. You do have the 15-minute and the morning looking like you might see that continuation towards the upside if you can really cool the oscillator off a bit more. You do have your prime oscillator looking towards the upside a bit, but you did have this peak seeker coming on in. Does not mean that that's actually the peak just yet, because your money flow is quite crazy in the positive here, as your volume has slowed up just a little bit. So you do see people trying to make that last ditch push towards the 236 before we really see price move in either direction. That's where I'd start to watch for volume and money flow as you approach that 236 at about $2.25. Watch to see if money flow starts coming on out, or if money flow at least maintains this area. If you do get that short-term cool off before another pop up, I would look for about $2 and about $2 actually. That's that nice psychological level where we saw price do a little hesitation here. We did see it coming in as some resistance here as well. So $2 being that nice psychological level. It is 5:30 my time, and time to head over towards that morning motivational video. I appreciate every single one of you for showing up today. I will see y'all in the rest of the chats. Make sure to tune in to the morning market report with Piper and OC. We don't really have any heavy data coming out today to really break down, but I'm sure Piper will have some doozies for us to kind of watch for. We've got Trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to tune in there. If you need some help on some TA or you just need a refresher, that man does a great job with TA. We've also got Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto for all of you late night folk. Great place to do some learning as well. All right, make sure to wake up today because today is going to be a good day. It's not going to be a volatile day, but it will be a good day. I'll see y'all at the next one.